Daenerys just saw her last closest friend and ally that she brought from Essos, that was there from her from the start, die again. So now she has 0 people that she trusts fully. Grey Worm's dead. Jorah's dead. 2 dragons are dead. Missandei is dead. She's got, like, at this point, she's got nothing. Add that to the point where she snaps, makes it easier for you to believe that she's going to snap that fast, because now keep thinking about this. The problem with Grey Worm dying, who's going to lead the Unsullied army? Everyone's gone on Daenerys' side, so Varys tries, because he knows what's going to happen. Same sort of deal, like I mentioned before. He tries to poison her, with maybe like the stones in his rings or whatever it was that he did try to poison her with Martha, where he says, what have I always told you? And she says, the greater the risk, the greater the reward. And Dany won't eat, tries to feed her, tries to poison her, doesn't work. He goes up to Jon when he arrives finally at Dragonstone, tries to convince him to make a push for the Iron Throne, doesn't accept it. Like, same sort of deal. Now, this is where it's going to get a little bit interesting, because now they're in this room where instead of Grey Worm being there and giving her Missandei's collar, it's just Daenerys alone holding Missandei's collar in this room with the fire. Mm-hmm. And like she's like you can see, like, she's cried herself so out that no more tears are coming out, but she's just in solemn mourning. And then right before Jon Snow comes in and walks in, she throws the collar into the fire. And Jon walks in, and this is like a little bright spot for her. Hey, this is the guy I love, And then so the same sort of thing happens, like, your sister killed, Varys as much as I did. She's plotting against us. She wants to see me removed and you on the Iron Throne. And Jon's like, well, I'll refuse, And she goes, I don't have love here. Far more people love you than love me. I don't have love here. I only have fear. And then Jon says, well, you'll always be my queen. And then she replies, well, is that all I am to you? Is your queen? And they start kissing again. And then just like in the regular show, he pulls away. And she realizes he's just not into it because they're related and like all the shit that's going on. All right, then, let it be fear. And Jon walks off. But then in the background, you hear a voice. It says, well, things have changed for you a lot since you left Meereen. And out of the shadows, you see Daario Naharis with a sack in his... He infiltrates the Golden Company that came over to battle for Cersei. He infiltrates them himself, and he brings her, just like he did, a full circle moment. Remember, the original Daario Naharis brought Dany the heads of the other captains to prove his loyalty and love for her. He brings her the head of Harry Strickland, the leader of the Golden Company. And so now, awesome. Dude, it's badass, because he makes this grand entrance out of nowhere. She wasn't expecting it. We weren't expecting it. He was able to get into the Golden Company. He's that sly, sneaky guy, just a badass. He's like, now it's weird dynamic going, because she knows Daario loves her unconditionally. She's starting to feel like Jon's pulling away from her. Now we've got this weird love triangle. But now she's got someone that can command the Unsullied, because they've worked with Daario before and he speaks the language. So now she's got not only a love interest, but a commander that can take Grey Worm's place. Got Jon, Daario Naharis, the Unsullied, the Dothraki, and all the Northmen that are going to fight against the Golden Company. Now, the Golden Company are now leaderless. Harry Strickland was their leader, but he's dead. Now they've got like a scattered army, which makes more sense as to why they were so useless in the show. Because remember when Daenerys was starting to blow shit down and she blew through the Black End? So what she did, and I'm okay with this the same way. She blows through the Greyjoy fleet in Blackwater Bay. No issue there. Like, Euron has to jump from it just to survive. She destroys all them. She goes back in, destroys the back wall, and then that army just attacks the Golden Company and just blows through them like a hot knife through butter. We see what happens with Jaime. He goes through the back way, kind of going through the tunnels, trying to find Cersei as like the stuff's going down, and Jaime and Euron fight. And I'm totally cool with what happens there, how it happened in the show. Euron stabs him fatally. Jaime was able to somehow get up there and kill Euron first, but he suffered 2 mortal wounds. Now, before we get farther into Jaime there, we go back to where they basically destroyed all the armies there, and then they have the opportunity to ring the bells. They ring the bells. Daenerys, even more madder now because she's lost Grey Worm, Missandei, Jorah, 2 dragons, everyone she's ever known to hold dear at all. She's got no one from Essos outside of Daario Naharis, who she doesn't even really love, but she'll accept him at this point because that's all she's got left, right? She doesn't even think about it, just mows through King's Landing the same exact way that she did and just starts burning shit down. and as we go into Arya and the Hound, as they make their way through up there, I would have liked to see the same sort of thing, like the Hound. They're up in the map room, right? Before he goes up to confront them, and he tells like Arya, "Hey, you think you want revenge? You know, you want to be like me? I want revenge my whole life. Like, you come with me, you die here." I like that, and I have Arya, quote unquote, accept it. Since she goes, "Sandor, thank you," then walks off. But instead of her just walking away like we saw, she goes down to the tunnels. You have the Clegane Bowl happen. I'm cool with how it happened. The only thing I'm not cool with was the way that the Mountain looked. He looked like a zombie Varys. He had no beard all of a sudden, no hair on his head. They have their little bowl there. He kills Qyburn. Cersei goes down the map room, but instead of Jaime meeting her in the map room, she has to figure out how to get out, and she decides to go down to the tunnels too. Is that she gets down into the tunnels and sees that it's all blocked off, kind of like she did with Jaime in the show, but she's kind of by herself. And then she sees Jaime like staggering and coming up to her, and she's like, "Oh my goodness," and they have that moment. They have this little moment, and then Cersei starts begging for her life, like she did in the show, where she's like, "I don't want to die, Jaime. Please, I don't want to die. Don't let me die here." And I would love to see Jaime look at her in the face and say, "When you play the Game of Thrones, you either win or you die." And have him rip the face off, and it's Arya, and Arya cuts her throat. So she exacts revenge and actually fulfills what she's been telling everyone she's going to do: kill the queen. Since season 1, she's been trying to kill the queen, and that's how I would have loved it. Because now, guess what? You get another faceless man, like, and then so. But before that happens, before she cuts it, we get a cut scene back to Arya going up the tunnels and finding Jaime dead on the ground because of the mortal wounds that Euron dealt him. Jaime was never able to get back into the arms of the woman that he loved, which is a great fucking way to end his arc for being a little bitch and dissing Brienne. Yeah. So he never was able to get back to Cersei. Never. He dies never being able to get back to the woman he loves. So she finds him dead on the ground, takes his face, and then it cuts back to that scene, and then her saying, "When you play the Game of Thrones, you when you die." Well, now what's Arya going to do is the place is collapsing on her. Remember in season 1, when I was talking about Illyrio Mopantis and Varys talking in the dungeons, Arya had to find a way out of there to escape, and she did it through the sewers. So she knows that area, and she's small. So because of that time, and she knew how to escape from season 1 and tell her father about Varys and Illyrio's conversation,
that's awesome.
She knows how to get the fuck out of the dungeon room.